What's up, guys? Classy Metal here. Happy New Year. It is 2024. I am personally happy to leave 2023 behind and look forward to the future and hopefully some better things ahead this year. It seems like I've been saying that the last few years, but this year's been a bit of a struggle for this channel, for me personally. I know that I had planned on having a guest. I had hinted at having a guest come and work with me on this end of the year list. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. That kind of seemed like the theme for 2023 with this channel. I had big aspirations, I had big plans, but they just never seemed to pan out the way that I wanted them to. You kind of couple that with the mental and physical ailments that I dealt with in the past year, as well as financial constraints, and it was just kind of a dumpster fire for me to try to get anything going with this channel. I'm hoping 2024 will be a little bit better, at least on the channel front. 2023 wasn't all bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to do like a sob story or anything. Tennessee Metal Devastation Fest. I got my first ever press pass, and I had an amazing time there. I've met some more awesome people this year. It seems like every year through this channel and just through a love for extreme music in general and shared interests that I'm meeting more and people out there and making friends, and that's awesome. And for those people that have kind of come along and shown support, I definitely appreciate everything that you guys have done. I would love to make like a long thank you list of people, but that would probably just need to be its own video because it would be so long of all the people that I'm appreciative of. Another thing that I'm appreciative of is this extreme music that came out this year. There was a ton of stuff that got me through some dark times, and I'm going to go through my top 25 that I enjoyed from 2023. This is a channel that likes to promote, and I personally like to promote physical formats. So this is all stuff that was released on physical format. This is all stuff that I purchased. If you're thinking, why is it something on this list? It could be for the simple fact that I don't own it on a physical format yet, or it could just be that I didn't like it as much as you did. At this point, do I need to do the disclaimer like this is my list, not yours, all that good stuff? You guys know, you know the rundown. So I'm just going to get into this. As I said, this is kind of the top 25. I call it Classy Metal approved releases of 2023. There's going to be some EPs, some full lengths. I don't separate that stuff out. I just pick out my top 25 releases and go from there. They're all going to be listed in the description. That way, if you want to check something out, maybe there's some stuff here that you missed and you want to check out for yourself, it's at your disposal and you can go down there and check it out. That's enough rambling. Let's get into this. This is what you guys came for. At number 25, I have the latest full length from the band Volus. This one is entitled Oath-Sworn Vengeance. Was released back in July through Vargheist Records. Makes sense that this one came out through Vargheist because Justin Volus, the driving force behind Volus, also runs Vargheist Records. This is kind of dissonant black and death metal. Gets a little noisy, very occult themed, dark, sulfuric black and death metal. Runs about 30 minutes, but it is a phenomenal release. I keep finding myself coming back to this one. When I first listened to it, I was like, well, that's pretty good. It'll probably end up on the shelf, and I'll come back to it eventually, spend some more time with it. But something just kept on pulling me back to this one for the last few months. So, killer stuff here from Volus. Definitely my favorite Volus release so far. If you're into that kind of dark, black and death metal, dissonant themed, noisy themed black metal, black and death metal, check that one out. I think you guys will dig it as much as I did. At number 24, we're going to show some tapes. I tried to mix it up a little bit. This year I have been picking up different formats as opposed to just CDs. So I'll be showing stuff on tape, CD, vinyl. The majority is still CDs. You guys know that's my favorite physical format. But I did try to mix it up a little bit. Next up we have some death metal, brutal death metal out of Ohio. There's quite a bit of Ohio death metal that I've been listening to this year. This is Mortuary Ghoul with Friends with the Dead. I went blank on the title there. This was released back in September through Dismal Fate Records. I know it was released on CD and on tape. It may also have a vinyl release as well. Very heavy-hitting, horror-themed death metal here. It will knock you around quite a bit. If I had spent a little bit more time with this, it probably would have crept up the the end of the year list a little bit, because it is very good. It's very well performed death metal, and it hits. That's the only way. There's another release that I'll be talking about in a little bit, just talking about how it hits hard. It just kind of pummels you, and it continuously pummels you. The sound clips definitely lead the set the mood for this release as well. And as I said, if I had spent a little bit more time with this, I think it probably would have worked its way up the list a little bit. But killer release here from Mortuary Ghouls, so definitely check that one out. Next up, I'm just running through all physical formats early on. We have some thrash metal. This is the Donner Party with Cutting Class. I believe this is their debut full length. Came out earlier this year through Soul Grinder Records. Donner Party, it's kind of a crossover thrash, kind of goes into that like pizza thrash, party thrash, and that's not necessarily a genre that I tend to lean to, that I particularly enjoy. But this one has that crossover feel, just enough of that punch that it kept me coming back to this. I had a good time listening to this one. I believe this was actually the first full album that Soul Grinder Records has put out, and if this is their first full album, this was a fantastic debut for that label as well. So killer stuff here from the Donner Party. I believe they're out in New Jersey. Looking forward to see where these guys go from this, because I found that full length to be very, very enjoyable. Next up, this one some people might be surprised is down at number 22. This is None with their newest release, Inevitable. When None releases a full length, it is inevitable that it's probably going to end up on my end of the year list. As far as None goes, it's just top notch, kind of depressive, atmospheric black metal. This was released on Hypnotic Dirge Records. When did this one come out? Back in June. It doesn't seem like it's been out that long to me. For some reason, I just haven't spent the time with this one that I've spent with some of the previous None albums. It could just be for the fact that I've been listening to much more extreme sounding stuff this year. I've been in a very death metal type vibe. You guys know that I go through my moods. There for a while, it was all doom metal. Atmospheric black metal had its run. It's been death metal for the most part this year. Not knocking this album at all. It is a fantastic release. I mean, obviously it is on my end of the year list. It's a very beautiful album, very depressing, sad, melancholy type of depressive black metal release. But None, I mean, they do no wrong. It is just fantastic depressive black metal out of Portland. I was a little bit surprised that one didn't shoot farther up the list. I haven't spent as much time with it as I probably should have. It's about like on that level with Mortuary Ghoul. If I had spent more time with that, it probably would have gone farther up the list. But there's just been so much music that I've gotten in my possession this year, it's kind of hard to spread all that time around. Next up, this is a band out of the UK at number, let's see, what number are we on? Number 21. This is Allfather with their full length entitled A Violent Truth. Allfather, this one was a surprise to me. I was just kind of drawn in by that artwork. I had not heard of this band prior to this full length. This was released on Trepanation Recordings. I was not familiar with that label as well. Allfather, how could I describe them? They're kind of a mix of groove metal, sludge. I feel some hardcore vibes going on in this as well, almost like downbeat. But it's just a Violent Truth is a perfect name for this release, because it has so many like fight riffs on that, and it makes me angry. I listen to that, and I got the beanie on, and I'm ready to punch somebody in the face when I listen to that. At number 20, another surprise for some of you guys. You guys know that I have like an aversion to split releases. I don't know what it is, but I have a hard time getting into splits. I usually don't even buy splits, but this came out on a label that I've been supporting quite a bit, and I've been failing on doing the videos for this label, because and that's just another downfall for me this past year for the channel. It's another thing that just hasn't come into fruition yet, but I've been doing this. Probably been one of the labels that I purchased the most from this year. This is a split that was released on Iron Fortress Records. If you follow my Instagram, you guys know that I've been making Iron Fortress Records releases. The name of this split is entitled Primal Tomb. This features two Canadian death metal bands, Scorching Tomb and Primal Horde. Came out in September. And as I was saying earlier about that Mortuary Ghoul release as being hard hitting, this is probably the hardest hitting release that I've heard all year. I put this on and I've learned that I can't try to do anything else. I can't put this on as background music and try to get anything else done, because it starts hitting so hard. It reels me in, and it's a phenomenal split. I was surprised with how much that I love this split. Killer stuff here. I think I will try to link this one up. I'm going to do Bandcamps and stuff for all of this stuff, but this one is going to be kind of hard. I don't know if they have a full split listed. I know Frozen Screams imprint did a version of this split as well, so maybe they will have it on their Bandcamp, but I will try to hunt that one down so you guys can listen to that. Maybe you'll get that feel that I got from it, just being such a heavy hitting release. I mean, that thing hits hard. It rattles my windows, and I absolutely love it. At number 19, a band that I met earlier this year for the second time, and actually looking forward to seeing them live this coming April in Memphis as well. This is Gravehover with their newest release entitled Depart From So Much Evil. Most ambitious Gravehover release so far. Third full length, I believe, from this band. It has a super long track on. I think I need to pick this album up on vinyl as well, because just the way it's laid out, it feels like that it was just meant to be played on vinyl. I have their previous album on multiple formats, so I think at some point I'm going to have to break down and get a vinyl on this one. This came out back in February, and I was actually looking forward to it when it came out, and it did not disappoint. My favorite track on this, track number 4, Brainstorm, almost didn't even make it on the album. I think it was just kind of a brainstorm kind of improvisation. I think I butchered that word. Tongue's not working, but I think it was kind of improvised, and they brainstormed some stuff and threw it together, and it sounded good, and it made the album. And for me, that was my favorite track on this. The longest track, the title track, Depart From So Much Evil, is broken up into 3 parts. The first part, the Inferno part of that, is also very good as well. Gravehover, how do you describe them? They're a mix of kind of crust, there's some sludginess going on, some thrash metal in there, some grind. It's very hard to pigeonhole them into any genre, but that's one thing I kind of respect from that band, because they don't adhere to a certain tag. They know the kind of music that they want to make, and that's what they do, and I find it all enjoyable. They pull it off very well, whatever route they choose to take on a particular track, or sometimes several within the same track. At number 18, we have Hanging Fortress with their second full length, I believe, entitled Suspended in Torment. This is the tape version that I'm showing. This was released back, I think around September on Life After Death Productions. They have a CD version out as well. I think that was self-released by the band for people that would rather have a CD copy. Hanging Fortress. This one caught me off guard as well. This is one that sounded, I mean, it's death metal, more Ohio death metal, go figure, that kind of totes that line into like brutal death metal, another hard-hitting release. This has just kind of been the flavor of the year for me, stuff like this. This is what I've been drawn to. This one I was absolutely blown away with. I saw it coming out on Life After Death. Life After Death hasn't put out as many releases this year as they did last year, so when I saw that this one was coming out, I was excited that they had something else in the works, and I ended up loving this much more than I thought I was going to anyway. So killer stuff here from Hanging Fortress. I don't know what's going on in Ohio, but there is a ton of good death metal coming out of that area. Let me take a swig as my voice is cracking. We will move on to number 17. Some English death metal. We have Celestial Sanctuary with Insatiable Thirst for Torment. Absolutely, absolutely amazing release. Their 2021 release, Soul Diminished, I think was the name of that. That one was pretty good. And I liked it, but it wasn't something that just, when this particular release was coming out, it was their previous was good, but it wasn't something that was like, hey, this one has to be pushed to the forefront of something that I'm going to check out. I think it was Jammin' John from Thralls of Metal. He had said something about this album. I saw either a review that they were doing on their channel. I don't remember what it was, but he talked so highly of this that I had to listen to it, and I was absolutely blown away with it. I was like, you know what? I gotta grab it. Blast Beats Vinyl had it on a sale going, and it was just perfect. It was like the stars aligned for me to grab this particular release, and it's made me go back and repurchase a copy of their debut full length as well. And I was like, you know what, if this one is this good, maybe I was a little bit hard on that debut, and I want another copy of it. This was released through, the vinyl was released through Church Road Recordings. Killer, the variant on this vinyl, on this particular one, looks so sick as well, so maybe that played a role in how much I enjoyed that album. But killer stuff there. Thank you to John over at Thralls of Metal for throwing that one on my radar and causing me to pick that one up. At number 16, this one seems kind of weird to be all the way up at 16, being that it is only I believe around an 11-minute debut, like demo EP. But this is so good. I keep coming back to this one, and I wish it was longer so I could spend more time with it, because it has been on repeat quite often this year. This is Insane Gwind with their Neurosurgical Savagery EP. This is a band out of Finland. As I said, it is their debut EP. This was put out through Head Split Records. I believe the band originally put this out in April, like an independent digital release, and Head Split Records picked it up and put it out on a CD format. I absolutely love this. It has a bonus track on this as well, from 2022 off their demo. It's entitled Secret of the Slaughterhouse. That one's phenomenal as well. But I want to hear more from Insane Gwind. This is, I mean, it's old school death metal. Gets a little grindy, death grindy, but God, it's so good. And it just, it melts my face, and I can't wait to hear more from this band. I hope we get some more Insane Gwind in the future, because this was absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. At number 15, we have my buddies Begravement with their debut full length entitled Horrific Illusions Beckon. Killer thrashy death metal out of Massachusetts. I said Massachusetts. I think they're out of Minnesota. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I lost my whole train of thought. Thrashy death metal, very mature release. They had some demos that came out prior to this over the past couple of years, and then when they dropped this full length, I wasn't ready for this. Their sound transformed a little bit from some of their previous material. You get a little progressive a couple times on this, not over the top, but I dug it. I like the way their minds are working on this, and where they're going with their music. I like the experimentation, and a couple points in this, I thought they were about to get a little folky with it. They did not get folky in the general sense. If you've heard this album, you can kind of pick up, you kind of know what I'm talking about. I hope, just with the way like some of the intros or the vocal approaches are going, I was like, whoa, this is definitely a little bit different route than what they've been taking, but I dug it, and they performed that very, very well. So kudos there to Begravement. You guys are killing it. Looking forward to seeing where you guys go from there. Next up, a band that I saw live at Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest just after their debut full length came out, and it was a band that was completely new to me. Their stage presence blew me away. I knew it was a band that I wanted to check out further after the show, after the festival was over. I did purchase this debut full length at the festival, and it is just some aggressive, in your face thrash metal, and I was absolutely blown away with this. This is the band Repent. with their debut full length entitled The Reckoning. This is a band that I see doing very big things in the future. They just have that professionalism and that presence about them that sometimes you can just see somebody live and it just clicks and you're like, hey, they've got it. They've got it. And this is one of those bands that I feel like that we will be talking about probably for years and years to come on these end of the year videos, and probably other people will be talking about them in the near future as well. Band out of Wyoming. This is another reason I'm thankful for stuff like festivals and touring and bands playing with other bands that you probably wouldn't have checked them out any other way. So killer stuff there from the band Repent. You guys are killing it. Looking forward to seeing where you go from there as well. At number 13, we have some death metal out of Chile. This is Sculpture with their A Horrifying Death EP. This was released through Adirondack Black Mass. This came out all the way back in January, and it stayed in my mind enough to make my end of the year list. So that should speak volumes with how good this EP is. Usually when something comes out at the beginning of the year, it kind of gets forgotten about as the latter part of the year rolls around. Sculpture, they're killing it. Death metal, they have that kind of old school vibe going on, but it's that old school vibe, that fiery, if that makes any sense. They do have a Deicide cover on this, so that is very fitting. Maybe that can help you get that feel that I have for this album. There is some definite Deicide influence going on in that music, and killer stuff there. Just thrashy death metal, and I absolutely love it. At number 12, we've got some black metal, and this is a self-released EP from this band, and it was, I think, their first release, and it's just like, it sounds like traditional black metal, and there's nothing necessarily reinventing the wheel, no ideas that are just necessarily new on this, but it's performed so well that it just stood out. And it's kind of hard to put it into words. The release I'm talking about is Black Spells with their debut EP entitled Transcend to Ascend. This is shown like on Metal Archives as a California-based black metal project, but I know for a fact at least one of the members in this is not from California, but it has that kind of fiery black metal feel going on, and it definitely has like it wears the band's influences on their sleeves. You have like some early Immortal influence going on. I know that seems like just just throwing that out there. It seems like just name dropping, kind of cliche when you're talking about black metal, but I mean it's black metal with riffs. It's so, I mean, just listen to it. You will understand what I'm talking about. I was first listen on this. It was an auto buy. Like I within the first maybe 2 minutes of me checking this out, I knew for a fact this is something that I wanted in my collection, something that I was going to listen to several times over, and something that I was going to keep on returning to. Features Jared Moran on drums, and but that's saying that's like, you know what, he's in 10,000 other bands. So next up we have Tomb Mold with The Enduring Spirit. I know this one is a very polarizing release this year. This one hit number 11 on my release. You guys know Tomb Mold. I don't have to spend a ton of time. Canadian death metal, their most progressive album to date. That kind of pushed some people off. Is it their best album? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it is. It is the one that I'm probably going to spend the most amount of time with. I've definitely spent more time this came out, listen, I think I wrote that. Yeah, this came out back in September. And so you look at maybe 3 months or so that this has been out. I've definitely listened to this one more in 3 months than I had listened to their previous outputs in that time span. That being said, it's kind of I've been listening to it to kind of wrap my head around some of the progressiveness that's going on this album. I know it kind of turns some people away as far as going that progressive route as far as just being this cavernous, old school sounding death metal that they had put out prior to this. This was a complete surprise drop. I don't think too many people knew that this was coming out when it did. I like it. I like the fact that they didn't go just overly dissing it and like just turn their back on the where they came from with that release, kind of like the route of Blood Incantation. Just kind of taking advantage of their namesake. I like this. The Enduring Spirit, I mean, that's what it is. It's an enduring album. I'm kind of curious to see where they go forward from this, whether they continue on this route of progressiveness or not. But for me, that was a very solid release. So probably I might not make any friends putting that one on the list, but for me, it was a very good release and worthy of a spot on my end of the year list. At number 10, we have the debut full-length self-titled from Piss Rot. The inside of this album, if you want to know what Piss Rot sounds like and you're new to them, rancid, cavernous death metal. I mean, that's what you get with Piss Rot. They are out of my home state here of Tennessee. They're Piss Rot, Vile Gunk, or Piss Vile, whatever. Their debut EP was phenomenal. They put out a promo at the beginning of 2023. I know Iron Fortress Records put it out on tape. I have that somewhere in there on my shelf. I love that as well. I was highly anticipating their debut full length. It did not disappoint. It came out in October. Had I spent some more time with this one, it probably would have climbed up the list a little bit more. I love the way that these guys are maturing in their sound and moving forward as well. It's always exciting to follow a band from the beginning and kind of see where they go. This debut full length is absolutely phenomenal. I picked this up from Corpse Gristle. I actually bought the CD and tape version from Corpse Gristle, and I have the vinyl pre-ordered, so that ought to tell you how much that I did enjoy this album. Some of you are like, you're just parading your friends around on this channel. You know what? I'm listed in the thank you notes on this right next to Thralls of Metal and the Taco Bell value menu, so there's no way I wasn't putting that one on the end of the year list, but it was definitely deserving of the spot that I gave it. At number 9, we have some Death Doom out of Canada. This is another one that came out at the beginning of the year. This is Nephilim's Noose with Blood Chants of Impiety. Very heavy release. It's just slow, methodical death doom metal. This was released through Life After Death Productions. This was their second full length. After checking this one out, I had to go back and pick up their first full length as well, which is also phenomenal. Came out in January, still pulling this one off of the shelf and listening to it to this day. Killer Death Doom, very heavy on the doom side of Death Doom. Very slow, only about 4 tracks long, but it has a pretty solid running time on this album as well. Pick it up, check it out. If you haven't heard this one, you're definitely doing yourself a disservice because it is absolutely phenomenal. At number 8, we have band out of Connecticut. This is Fires in the Distance with Air Not Meant for Us. Their second full length, melodic death doom, and this band just keeps getting better and better. I had the good fortune of seeing these guys live as well. They pull it off phenomenally live. I actually own this on vinyl and CD format. This year I've just been picking up physical formats of bands that I love. So absolutely love them. You guys know, I think it was 2020 their debut full length Echoes from Deep November came out, and I was very big on that album as well. I think Air Not Meant for Us is a step up from that debut full length, so that's saying a lot because both of their full lengths are absolutely amazing. Came out back in April, and it's another one that's just been in rotation throughout the entire year. Next up, this is another one that was kind of met with mixed reviews. At number 7, we have Cattle Decapitation with Terracite. For me, Cattle Decapitation is one of those bands that keeps getting better, and I know for a fact that some of you feel the absolute opposite of that. I'm a fan of the kind of cleaner alien-esque vocals that Travis has been doing on the latter albums. I know some of you cannot stand it, but for me, this was like a masterpiece album. This may be my favorite Cattle Decapitation album so far. I hate putting something from, well, okay, it's from Metal Blade, so I'll let it slide. For a second, I thought it was Nuclear Blast. A lot of you know I'm not a fan of that label. But Cattle Decapitation, the song Scourge of the Offspring, I listened to that track on repeat over and over and over too much. I almost burnt myself out on it. But as far as the entire album goes, this is probably my second or third most played album from the year. It's that good. I kept returning back to it. The replay value is there. It's one that I feel like I'm going to keep on returning to well after 2023 is way behind us. It's one that'll keep on getting playtime for me. At number 6, we have what's becoming for me like the Kings of Sludge. We have Body Void with Atrocity Machine. This was released back in October. And it's kind of drony, doomy sludge metal, and it's just, this will take you down a very, very dark road. It is, it's just some dark stuff, and I love Body Void. I've seen them live as well. I think it was last year that I actually got to see them live, but I was anticipating this release. Prosthetic Records kind of shit the bed a little bit as far as getting the CD to me. I think they just kind of forgot about my pre-order. I had to email them like a month after the album had been released, and then it showed up all smashed to pieces. And despite all that, this album is still at number 6 on my end of the year list, because the music behind all that other stuff that you forget about all that other crap. You put the music at the forefront, and this is a phenomenal release. Just dark, drony, depressing sludge metal, and I absolutely love it. Next up, probably my favorite black metal release from the year. This, I'm gonna butcher every part of this. This is Constantini with Upal. Yeah, I butchered that. I know I did. This is a band out of Minneapolis, and it is, I wrote down a note on it as existential black metal. It's kind of progressive black metal, almost avant-garde at times. But there's just something about this one that has been drawing me in ever since it came out. This was released through Willow Tip Records. There was a big issue in the production of this album. It took forever for me to get this vinyl in. It is very rare that I just go out and buy something on vinyl first off without picking up, the CD copy or what. And I don't know if the anticipation of getting the physical format lifted that one up in my mind or what. But it was well worth the wait. It was absolutely phenomenal. I probably said phenomenal 100 times in this video so far, but it's the end of the year and we're talking about my favorite releases, so that's a good thing that I keep talking about how phenomenal that stuff is. But Constantini, I think that's how you pronounce that, but killer stuff there. At number 4, one that started out towards the bottom of the list for in my mind for this year, and it's worked its way all the way up, and I just can't get enough of it. This is Grotesqueries with Vile Crematory. What can I say about Grotesqueries? They're a band, old school death metal band out of Massachusetts. They have that almost that cavernous feel going on at times. Released through Caligari Records. I saw these guys live and I was blown away by their live performance. I got to see them play Corpse Juice live, which is my favorite track off of this album. And I just keep coming back to this. I don't know if it's just because I had such a good time at that particular show. Went way out of my comfort zone. Went by myself to a venue that I had never been to before. And for me, as someone that suffers through anxiety and other stuff, that was huge for me. And the fact that they put on such a good show, I was so excited to see these guys, and they killed it as well as the other bands that they played with as well. It's probably the heaviest death metal show that I saw all year. and maybe those good memories of that show kind of fuel my love for this album. But for me, it's just one of those. It's just continually gotten better. I've played it over and over and over, and it has climbed all the way up my end of the year list. So there we go at number 4. Now we're in the top 3. All 3 of these at one point of the year has been my favorite album, and they've all kind of shuffled back and forth, and I finally just had to put them in order. But at any time, you could talk to me a month from now, and they might be shuffled around again because they're all worthy of the top spot. But I just had to put them in an order. At number 3, we have a death doom band out of Belgium. This is Gateway with Galgendude, and this is their sophomore full length. Their self-titled debut came out in, I think it was 2015. So you're looking at about 8 years in between full lengths. I've had that debut full length in my possession for ages now, and I didn't think that they were ever going to release another full length. So when I heard that this was coming, I was excited about it. Transcending Obscurity did an excellent job on the presentation of this album. I know sometimes Transcending Obscurity can go a little overboard with their presentations and the metallic foils and stuff, but for this album, it just everything works, from the artwork to the music. I was super pleased with the way it came out. Killer stuff. I mean, if you're into Death Doom and you haven't checked this one out, what are you doing with your life? Because it is just absolutely phenomenal. I cannot say anything bad about this particular release. So amazing release there at number 3. At number 2, this is a band that I had never heard of going into 2023. I believe this is their 3rd full length that they've put out, and it's very rare when I find a band that has been out that long that I haven't at least had some sort of introduction to, and that I love this much. I heard this release. It came out, I think, back in February. No, this came out in August. The next one came out in February. This came out in August, and I've been backtracking. I picked up their 2 prior full lengths and their debut EP after hearing this, and I've loved every release that I've heard from this band. This is some more metal out of Ohio. There was a heavy dose of Ohio on this release, on this list. I actually bought this album on all 3 formats. I have it on tape, CD, and on vinyl. I just opted to show the vinyl on this video just to kind of show different formats. It's a very dark artwork, so I thought maybe the vinyl would help show the artwork a little bit. This is Invitation with Feral Legion. This is black and death metal, kind of totes that line into war metal. The best way that if for some of you, maybe if you're familiar with the band Weregoat, they have like some Weregoat sound going on without the over the top perversion. But that's a good way that I know to describe this band. But it's very rare for me to fall in love with a band like this that has been around as long as this one has, and I just had never been introduced to it. I'm not bragging or anything saying, hey, I hear new stuff all the time. That's not what I mean. But just the fact that this came out, and I was completely unfamiliar with this band when it came out, and the fact that I love this band now does not happen that often. So that's the standing point for me. This was released through Sentient Ruin Laboratories, as I said, back in August. Amazing release. I absolutely love it. I'm wanting to listen to it now, but it's already getting late, and just looking at it makes me want to go back and listen to it. So killer stuff there from Invitation. And then last, this one probably shouldn't be a surprise if you've followed me, like if some of you have hunted me down and added me on Facebook and all of that type stuff. This one felt like a birthday present. It came out just after my birthday, like 2 days after my birthday this year, and that was back in February, and it's been in steady rotation ever since. Definitely my most listened to album of the year. This is Tithe with Inverse Rapture. This was released through Profound Lore Records, as I said, back in February. Band out of Portland, Oregon. They're a mix of kind of death metal, doom metal. I say doom metal, kind of sludgy doom metal. There's grind elements going on this, to the point like it's like I don't know if any of you remember the band out of New Orleans entitled Soylent Green. There were a couple spots on this particular release that I felt like I was listening to Soylent Green's A Deleted Symphony for the Beaten Down album, and I mean that in the absolute best way possible. Their first full length entitled Penance was pretty good. I do own that one on a cassette format, but I wasn't expecting Inverse Rapture to hit me and just grab me the way that it did, but I have not been able to put this one down. It is absolutely been my favorite release from 2023. It kind of encapsulates a lot of the I'm maybe just making up words that I like this album so much I'm just making up my own vocabulary. It just kind of grabbed in a lot of the feelings that I was feeling throughout 2023 and put them to music. And when something can kind of resonate with you that way, it feels just exactly what you're feeling, and it gives you like this weird, almost perverse comfort out of it. That's what this album did to me, and I keep on going back to it, and I absolutely love it. This is another one that I know will stay in steady rotation far beyond 2023 and going into the future. Looking forward to anywhere that Tithe goes from this album. I'm going to have to check it out because this was absolutely phenomenal for me. That's it. That's my top 25. I hope you guys found some stuff that maybe you hadn't checked out, and maybe you'll check it out and like it just as much as I did. If there was something that wasn't on this list that you felt like it should be, I'm sorry that maybe I just didn't like it as much as you did. Maybe I hadn't heard it. If there's something you think I missed and you want me to check out, feel free to throw it down there in the comments. The way that 2023 went, I'm not making any big plans or saying what I'm going to be doing with the channel moving forward. We're gonna ride this wave, and when I feel like it, I'll do and record what I want. I'm going to kind of strip it and pull it back a little bit. Eventually, one day, I probably won't be on YouTube, and I may just go into like writing reviews or something, but I'm still here for now. I do want to get back on the CD collection, but I'm not making any promises for 2024 as far as content goes. I'm just going to, when I feel like it, that's what's going to come out. As always, I thank you guys so much that have followed and supported and watched these videos. Without you guys, there would be no Classy Lonnie Metal. So all of you guys are Classy Metal approved. That's all I've got for now. Hopefully, I will see you guys very soon. Let me know what you think about this list down in the comments. As always, stay classy, stay metal, and I will see you guys soon. I promise.